Hi guys, this is an introduction video of a series where I walk you step by step on how to solo all of Ark Survival Ascended story and one other map. Um, I think first it's important that we establish some rules and how I go about playing the game. So first we will be starting on the island at level 1. And the way that I go about playing is I can't transfer to other maps until I have beaten all of the Gamma bosses on that map. So I'll beat the island bosses on Gamma. I'll then go to Scorched Earth, and then I will go on Scorched Earth with my character at whatever level I am, and then I will play on Scorched Earth until I have then beat Manticore on Gamma, the Scorched Earth boss, and then that will then unlock Aberration for me, and I will go to Aberration with my character again and play on there until I have then beat Rockwell, who is the boss on there, on Gamma difficulty. And specifically Gamma difficulty, I can do beta if I want, but I probably won't. But once I beat Aberration, I will then actually go to the center map, and I will then play through the center map on Gamma. The reason for this is because finding high-level dinosaurs on the story maps is honestly, it's one of the worst things ever. You just can't find them. The only reason I'll be going over there is for the dinos. I probably won't farm a bunch of gear or whatever, but once I have reached the center's bosses, once I have beat the center on Gamma, I can then freely travel between maps. And what I'll do then is use the resources from all 4 of the maps and play and beat all of the alpha difficulty bosses on all of those maps. Then, once I have beat all the bosses on all the difficulties on the island, Scorched, Aberration, and the center, then I will go to Extinction and I will play on Extinction, and I can freely travel from Extinction to wherever other map I want. I can freely transfer dinos. I can do all of that. I won't be transferring any gear to any map until I have beat the center on Gamma. Until that point, when I go to a map, it's just me. I have no gear. I have to start from scratch. I have to build up and then beat that map on Gamma. One of the things I absolutely will not do is cheese through anything. Like, I won't be taking the Aberration wingsuit through the tech cave just to get to the end. I'll fight my way through the tech cave with an army of dinosaurs and beat the Overseer the good old-fashioned way with brute force. There are a couple of things to note here. I do have all of the Bob's Tall Tales DLC. I might use some of it. I don't exactly have that like planned out. I don't, if it breaks the game or anything, I probably won't use it. This series is PvE and solo. Nobody will be joining me or assisting me, and once I start, my settings will not change. There is one part where they change, but it was because I accidentally hadn't changed one of the settings to match, but we'll get to that later. These videos assume that you, as a player, know the basic mechanics. I'm not going to explain step by step how to do the absolute basic things like tame dinos or craft items. I might show you where to do those things or how I go about doing it, but I'm not going to explain that teams need knocked out and then supplied with food. This playthrough is also on single player, where all explorer notes are 4 times. This is somewhat important in the very beginning, but a lot less so later on. On private servers or on official servers, most of the explorer notes are 2x notes, and the tech style notes, I just call them tech notes, are 4 times, so you can combine those and get 8 times experience, which I can't do. Also note that if at any point during this beginning stages, if you come across a supply drop that you have access to, that you're high enough level to, just get it. I don't need to point out that if something advantageous comes across, just go ahead and take advantage of it. You don't have to do every step in order per se. And one last thing in general about especially the beginning, if you come across any trilobites or maybe somehow a scorpion or bugs, you need to kill them and harvest them with a hatchet. Especially trilobites. Go out of your way to kill trilobites if you see them, because you need about 225 chitin in the first couple hours of playing for the Pteranodon saddle and the Argentavis saddle. Now we're going to go ahead and go through the settings and the couple of mods that I use. These are mainly, they don't really change the gameplay. I like this day indicator because it just shows what day it is on the morning of that day. It doesn't change really anything. The dino book, I guess, kind of changes a little. It can show you how much kibble or whatever, or meat or whatever you would need to tame a dino. And this auto muncher is a mod where it shows, or it lets you auto attack. So instead of multiple clicks, you can just hold down click. I think this should be in the base game. It doesn't, all it does is just make it easier on my hands, and I refuse to take it off, because when you sit there and click for 20 minutes just to kill, an alpha mosasaur, there's just no benefit to it. All you're doing is, I guess, burning a couple of calories. These are the only 3 mods that I use, and they're the only 3 mods that I'll use throughout the playthrough, with the one exception being I will use holiday mods if they come available. Like right now, the Christmas one is available. I didn't do it for this very beginning because I wanted it to be, I didn't want to rely on it or anything like that to get any extra gear or whatever. They don't really change that much either. I won't be changing the settings either. Once the settings are set, they will be locked in, and that is all that I'll be on. So let's go ahead and go through all of my game settings. If you want to exactly match what I have, the fastest way to do that is to restore defaults. Click this restore defaults. This will set it at basically official settings, and we will tweak a few things from here. All of this screen is default. Everything on here is default. I usually turn on this disable structure placement collision. It just lets you build into the side of a mountain or something like that. It just makes it a little more convenient for you for building. It doesn't make it any more difficult or less difficult. World settings, I don't usually allow speed leveling or flyer speed leveling. Maximum difficulty on, so you can have 150 max dinos. Difficulty level, just set this to 1. PvE mode, the problem with this is that where I build is right on top of a drop, a supply drop, and if you're in PvE mode, you can't build under a drop, so I have to constantly alternate between this, because when you turn on PvP mode, you have cryo sickness. And I know I can go into the INI and fix that, and I probably will, but for all intents and purposes, just leave PvE mode on. Hardcore mode off, because that's a bad idea. Allow unlimited respecs, that can be on. Nobody, it doesn't really matter. Rules. Let's see. Use single player settings. This needs to be off. This is the most important setting that needs to be off because this essentially breaks the game, makes it a joke. You can match all of these if you want. I don't think I changed anything on here. You might disable friendly fire so you don't kill your own tames, I guess. Advanced settings, PvE. Cave building I usually turn on. There's no, it's not a PvP game, so I don't see why I wouldn't be able to build in the caves. I might not even do it at all anyway, but there's no reason to restrict the option. Flyer carry needs to be on. These all standard. I do allow flyers in caves, but I don't use flyers in caves. I turn this setting on because if you get near a cave with your flyer, it'll automatically dismount you, and I don't like that at all. If you go, I like to take my flyer to the cave with my cave dino and walk the flyer into the cave so it's not in danger outside while I'm not in there, or while I'm in the cave. But I won't, it's not like I'm gonna fly into the cave, get the artifact, and leave. That's cheating. I don't cheat. PvP, I don't think any of these matter. World settings. So this is where probably the most deviation from official settings. You cannot play single player. I mean, you literally can, but you can't reasonably play single player with official settings. It's just not feasible. The breeding settings are too slow. It takes, I think, 50 hours to hatch a giga egg on official, and what that would mean is that you would have to be in game on single player for 50 hours, and that's just not feasible for most people. These are the settings that I've come up with. They're not broken fast. I don't want to make it too easy and just, be popping out eggs every 5 seconds. It's not like that. These are, I think, balanced settings for someone who plays a decent amount. If you play like 2 hours a week, you might turn it up farther than that. But this is for someone who plays, I don't know, a couple hours a day, at least every other day. You won't be waiting too long for things to happen. Each imprint, I believe, is about 45 minutes. Actually, I think it's about 30 minutes, maybe a little less. But yes, you can get to 100% imprint. My egg hatch speed is 15. This still takes, I think it makes giga eggs still take like 3 hours or something to hatch. It's still relatively a long time. I mean, that's a whole night after work, 3 hours to wait on an egg to hatch. So, egg laying interval, these are the default eggs, the non-fertilized eggs rather, and I don't adjust this because I don't want kibble to be like free. I want to have to actually tame several of the dino to get kibble eggs. Mating interval, this is on 0.1. For your like Rexes and stuff, it's still going to take a few hours between mating. I think that's fair because generally when you're building an army, you will have like several females. So, I mean, that's several eggs every several hours. And I think that's pretty balanced. If you want to, I would highly suggest copying these settings if you want a balanced game, if you play a decent amount. These settings are quite complicated, and I don't really have time to explain all of them and how they precisely work in this video, but I'm sure there are other videos for that. There's even a calculator for the breeding settings, which is what I used a while ago to come up with these settings. Next we go to wild dinos. These are all standard tame dinos. These are all official settings. Player, none. XP multipliers, this is all one times. I didn't change any of these. I don't think I changed anything in here. You can show the floating damage text. This is a personal thing. I like to build the training dummy and use that instead. Force gacha unhappy in caves. This is a new setting. I don't think I've ever seen it before. I'm gonna turn that on actually. These fishing quality and all this is all standard. I must have passed harvest settings and taming settings. This should be on 2 times. I don't know why that's not on 2 times. These are the only important ones that I change from official settings. I don't think 2 times is game breaking. I don't think it's even really that big of a deal. I still have to make kibble. I still have to spend a while taming. I still have to spend a while grinding. And there's only one caveat to this, is that in the beginning of the first video, I didn't have one. I had 1 times on this and 1 times on this until I reached Herbivore Island. Okay, so I was on all official settings until I reached Herbivore Island, just to show that you can do it without turning up the settings or anything like that. And I think that's it for the settings. If you want to pause the video and match all of these, you can. I don't think I changed many of them. Only the ones I really pointed out. And these will be the settings I use for the entirety of this series. This video is just an introduction on the series itself. The first video in the series will be going over how to go from level 1 all the way up until level about 65, 62 to 65. 62 is what you want, so you can make an Argenteva saddle, and I can show you how to reach this in about 2 hours, depending on your settings and depending on you as a player. You can maybe make it 3 hours, I don't know, but still, even 3 hours in, having an Argentavis with a saddle is, in my opinion, the absolute best way to start this game, because you can then take your Argentavis and start anywhere in the game. The first video will soon follow after this upload, and the second will probably take a decent amount of time because I've already recorded the first video and am editing it right now with this one. So the second video I still have to record, which the second video is a decent amount of the early mid game, so I'll get that out when I can. I have a real life job that takes a very big amount of my time, so I'll just have to do it when I can, but I will get it out eventually. And I suppose that's all I have to say in this video. If you want to see how to beat every map on every difficulty, stick around and I'll show you in an efficient way, not just this isn't a let's play. This is a guide video series showing you what to do in a general order and what to look for, so you don't get off track and, you know, tame Carbonemus or anything like that. And with all that being said, I will see you in the next video.